Right, catch-uppy time. We haven't done one of these for a little bit, I don't think. But anyway, as usual, very, very busy. It is officially silly season, and I've been doing lots and lots of miles, especially in the last 2 weeks. It has been ridiculous with chasing things. So what we're going to go? It's only big matches. Literally this time of year, don't bother with any open matches whatsoever. It is all about trying to qualify for whatever various finals. And I've had, where are we going to start with? Had a busy week before last. I went to Lindo. Lindo on the Wednesday for a golden reel qualifier. Yeah, it was. Lindo on the Wednesday. And we were on, what were we on? We were on Benny's. No, we weren't. We were on Bonsai, Laurels, and Loco Lake. Loco Lake, that was where we wanted to draw. Not the biggest turnout of that one. I think there were about 50 on that one. Was there? Yeah, about 50 odd people on that one. With it being a midweeker, lots and lots of things were clashing on the same day. But still, it is what it is. We need to draw Loco. I mean, if you haven't been to Lindo, Loco this year, it's been the beast of Lindo. Utterly unreal. It's fishing its plums off, and the F1s, they're about that big. They're ridiculous. So you need so fewer fish on there to catch the ridiculous weights that you need. And on the day, it was very much a case of ridiculousness with the weights that got caught on the whole venue. Myself, unfortunately, didn't manage to pick a peg on. Pick a peg on Loco. I drew 59 on Bonsai. 59 on Bonsai, which was, on the day, I was end peg, I was up the spit on the left, I was the first peg along. I think 56 is the first one, but I was 59, just up. Loads and loads of room. I think there was either 15 or 20 of us on the entire Bonsai. So we had loads and loads and loads of room. So the next peg round was like 47 or something. And then I had Ollie next to me. I had Ollie Scott on. He was on, I don't know what Ollie was on, 3 or 4 pegs to my right, but he was the next angler. And fishing-wise, it was ridiculous. Literally ridiculous. Wasn't sure what to do. Not fished Bonsai since they've re-sculpted it and sorted it all out, because we needed such a big weight. It was about keeping things simple. Shallow was going to be a massive thing. Speaking to Dale, I spoke to Dale Shepherd at the start, and he told me there were lots of carp as well. So I fed a line with hard pellets long. I fished shallow at sort of 11 metres with casters, and I started on a top kit, and I put an edge line in as well. Within 5 minutes of starting on my top kit with hard pellets, I caught 2 of them, and they were swirling on my casters. So after 5 minutes, we were out shallow, and it was just a case of, it wasn't one a chuck. It was very, very good, but clever. Having to change depths a lot. You have to come really, really shallow to catch these bigger fish. And the thing with Bonsai is you've got to avoid these little babby ones. Yeah, Aaron's rammed it with lots of little, they're like 2 to 6 ounce, real little F1s. And if you at the wrong depth, if you're a bit deeper, particularly in my peg, where I was, there were lots of these little ones, and they just slow you down. Although you're catching one a chuck, they just knock your weight down a little bit because you're spending a lot of time catching these little ones. But phenomenal day. I've spent pretty much 5 hours fishing shallow. Kept coming down the edge the last hour or so. There were carp in my edge for the last 3 hours. Couldn't catch one. I dropped my rig in, I put my rig in perfect over my pile, and I'd catch one of these little Diddy F1s, even though there were 10 carp in my peg. So I've aborted that, just fished shallow from pretty much start to finish, and had a ridiculous day. I ended up with, I won my section with 236 pounds, but that didn't reflect on how it had fished. Ollie had beat me off next peg. Ollie had 250 odd, 56. 256, I'm going to say. Ollie finished third. I think I was third on the lake. Dave Shires had 250 pounds as well, all the way around behind us on the maybe 80 something. I don't know what numbers are. So Bonsai had fished ridiculous. I think there were 5 200 pounds just on Bonsai, with everyone else having 100 pounds pretty much. And Bert had won a match. Dale Shepherd had won a match off peg 9 on Loco. He just caught these massive big F1 shallow in the edge. So fair play to him. The size of fish on there is just phenomenal, and Dale don't muck about. Dale gets a chance, he gets job done. So not a chance on that one. Picked up a few quid, but not the one to be on. Where do I go after that? UK Champs. This is the one we shall go in depth on. And it's where I discovered my new little thing that I'll give you my little tip of in a minute. Gone back in UK Champs, not fished that for, I reckon it was 2015, 2016 was the last time I had to go to UK Champs. I've only fished it once before, maybe twice. I might have done 2 years in a row. Don't know, but I've not won it, and I want to win that one. So I thought, right, this year, with Andy Kinder changing it to Thursdays, it freed up a bit of time, so it didn't clash with too many qualifiers, so I can go and fish it. So first one up, Hallcroft, not a venue I know anything about whatsoever. I've been there once on a Maver qualifier, and other than that, I've fished 2 silverfish qualifiers on there. Have I? No. A silverfish final and a silverfish qualifier. So not a venue I know anything about, and not somewhere I could put time in. Just didn't have time to go and have a look, so I went with the rock up and suck it and see. And I think I've drawn all right. I've drawn 50 on Bridge Pool, which is... Bridge Pool's on your left as you come in. The first one's Croft, then it's Bridge. I've got me back to the chalets, for anyone that hasn't been there and doesn't know, or has been there and knows sort of thing. I wasn't MPEG, so MPEG was massive on the day. So you needed whatever lake you were on, whatever section. We were on Moat, inner and outer on Moat, and then outer on Bridge. That's where we were pegged. And the end pegs are phenomenal at Hallcroft. They really, really are good. I wasn't on one, I was 1 in, so I was next best. I thought, yeah, I've got half a chance. As long as it fishes a bit tricky, then you had a chance of beating these end pegs. So anyway, I'm on my peg, got loads of room. We've got 1 angler, missed 2, 1 angler, missed 2, all the way around. I had Cookie next to me as well. I had Steve Cook. He's always nice to have a chat with him at the start. I like being next to Cookie, and he was very good at the venue as well. He lives like 3 seconds from Hallcroft, so he gave me a heads up at how it'd be, like the size of fish, all that sort of thing, which was great. And it was always going to be 99% about carp fishing, like just fishing for these big, moody, patiency carp sort of things. So, what did I do at Hallcroft? I've done a bit of all sorts. I've set up, I spoke to Ollie again, phoned Ollie Scott on, he put a few things in my head. So I've set up a feeder to the far bank, because we could chuck across on our lake. I've clipped it up, I've never thrown it all day, but I set it up just in case. I set up a couple of mugging wagglers, never picked them up all day. It's all been about mugging on a pole or fishing shallow, slapping on my spot. On the bottom long, on the bottom short, and then edges. So standard pole carp match it became. And why does this happen, right? I want some comments on why people think. You start the match and there's muggers all over the place. Yeah, you flick it in, 99 times out of 100, the first one nails it. And that's what I did on the day. I literally flicked it in, straight to a mugger. I think it turned round and ate it. Stupid. So I've got one 10-pound within 30 seconds. And then they turned into absolute pains in the bum to try and get them on the hook. They just wouldn't have it. But it happens all the time, that. Not a clue why, but it happens. But yeah, that's what I've done. I caught 2 really quick, first 5 minutes for £20. And then I probably went an hour without catching one. I think I missed 2 or 3 bites when I had a chance and I just messed it up. Couldn't get any bites, do me head in. I think I ended up with 3 after an hour and a half. So not doing well, but still in the gang. No one was really catching anything. So at that point, I started feeding. So I fed some 4 mils long, just 4 mil fishery coppins. I fed them long. I like feeding 4s instead of 6s because I can get some grubbing, and it also makes my hook bait stand out better. So I can feed a lot heavier with little 4 mils, make loads of noise, get loads of fish in the peg, and then I fished an 8 mil over the top of it, which is what I did. But to be fair, I fed first to try and fish shallow. I think I caught a couple of fish shallow within me bait, but just plopping it. They didn't like any noise. It was just plopping me rig around me bait. Caught a couple, and then they fizzed like mad, which is what they expected to on the bottom. So I've gone over that, but I've gone over it with an 8 mil. I mean, big standy LT pellet, almost just to see. I mean, I thought I'd get a couple. I thought I'd foul hook a couple more than anything rather than catch them. I thought I might catch some skimmers maybe on it as well. But it was solid. Utterly unbelievable. They were fizzing like mad, dead silty, dead soft there. I think I've had like 11 in 11 chucks. Like ridiculous for an hour and a half. Not in and under, not really fast, but nice steady, being patient. I think I caught like 11 carp in the next couple of hours. I mean, so 3.5 hours in, I'm up to 13 or 14 carp, and they're all the big fish. Like there's some, I've had one about 15, 16 pound. They're all 5 to 10 pound, all proper fish, but phenomenal. And the last place I thought I'd catch them. Like to catch them in, how deep was it? 6.5 foot. Yeah, 6 or 7 foot, I'm going to say. To catch them on that, on really high pressure, same as today, bright sunny. I never ever thought it'd happen, but it was brilliant. So I caught a load on that. Never caught a fish short, weirdly. I did catch an odd and shallow as well late on. Now and again, I pick a shallow rig up, give it a plop. Sometimes I'd get a little one, a little 4-pounder. Caught a couple of them, and then I finished my match with 2 down the edge. Oh, I need to talk about my edge. I've got a new toy. Officially, for down the edges, I've got a new toy we've used for a long, long time, Lee Murphy's weed cutters that you've seen us use on the end of our poles. I mean, brilliant for places like here, when you're on a snake lake, for cutting out the far bank when there's no access. However, for down the edge, on those pegs that you can't get to, I mean, when you can't get your shears in and cut it, or it just needs a little subtle, little sexy bit of gardening, then these bad boys, it just got me one of these, so I've just ordered one. I've only had this for 2 weeks, and it's the landing net version of the cutters that Lee Murphy does, and they're just, oh my God. He makes things so easy for just walking down your peg and being able to nick off, just the bits that make you not be able to see your flow. Utterly unbelievable without destroying a peg. Yeah, really subtle, really sexy, the best thing in the world. So have a look at them. Lee Murphy's angling products, but the landing net version, if you've not had a go, cannot recommend that highly enough. Even for the Glebe as well, it was brilliant last week for going around the far bank and just nicking a few brambles off me feeder cast. Anyway, enough waffling. So yeah, caught a couple down the edge as well. Ended up with 18 carp for £156, which more importantly than anything, beat the MPEG just. So the MPEG's at £126. I think there was another 100, so I won my section. All I'm bothered about was winning my section. Didn't win the match. Matt Pillay won the match. I was third in the match, so I got a couple of quid for that, but it's UK champs. All I'm bothered about is winning my section, so it couldn't be a better start. Well happy with that. And the next one is at Makins, but not for a bit. I think it's end of June, the next one at Makins. So I'll catch up with you with that when we're done. Other than that, a couple of more quick ones. Fish Midlands. Finally managed to sneak through that. We're not going to go into that too much because we filmed that one for, what do we call it, Rich? The campaign. The final instalment of qualifying for the campaign. Got my finger out. Caught some fish on 25 on high. Drew high pool at Tunnel Barn. And it was like this again. Not a nice fishing day. Not right. And I scratched my way to £101, £103, little £100. I won the lake with that, just being very busy catching little fish, but I learnt lots. So I don't want to go into that too much though, because that is learning for the masters. They're right jumpy today, aren't they? They're jumping all over the place. I think they're getting a bit horny, aren't they? So that one done, Fish Midlands done. Last one, the Glebe. Flipping heck, yeah. 2 days ago, I went to Glebe for yet another golden reel qualifier. And I've drawn my plums off. I've drawn, for anyone that doesn't know, I've drawn 86, which is known as the little girl's peg, pretty much because a little girl could win off it. Well, it could do back in the day. It hasn't won for a while, but it's in your top 3 or 4 picks at the Glebe these days. It always has been. It is a special peg on Lake 6, the end peg on Lake 6, as soon as you walk down. Probably the pleasure peg. It's probably where everyone just sits. It's one I've always wanted to be on. And to say it was disappointing is an understatement. It's ripped me a new one. I've caught a few fish early. Like I expected it to be tricky, the Glebe always is. So I thought it would be a bit tricky to start. I'll catch a few mugging, which I did. Probably caught 6 or 7 in the first hour mugging. Thought that's steady. Nice start, £30–40 first hour. It'll only get better, it'll only get silly. And then I've gone up my edge, pinging a few pellets, gone on that, caught an odd one. Thought, right, we're playing now, it'll get really good. And then the wind's been whacking down the other end. And there's not been visually many fish about. And I thought, it's a bit weird. I wonder where they're going to rock up and come from. They didn't. Like, they really didn't. And from halfway through, from 2 o'clock, I never had another bite. So I packed up 20 minutes early. I literally never had a bite for the last 2 hours of the match. It were just nothing there. But apparently they naff off down the other end to spawn and then come back. But for whatever reason, they weren't happy at all. They want to spawn, they don't want to feed. And I caught nothing. I probably chucked back 60 odd pound. Not a happy boy at all. It hurt me a bit that to draw a peg such as that and there literally be nothing in it or nothing feeding in it was a massive disappointment. But it was what it was. At the end of the day, I think even if it fished really well, I'd have struggled to win because Sam Brown's took it out off a peg that you'd never, ever fancy on Lake 9. That just shows you've got to go to your peg with a happy head on no matter where you draw, and he's at £300 off. I'm going to say he was on 125, maybe 123, don't know. Early-ish numbers, top end-ish, but not MPEG on Lake 9. So fair play to him. Sam always puts the effort in, puts the time in at chasing these qualifiers, so he was more than due on. And that's about it. That's we is officially caught up. So next I've got partridge, golden reel tomorrow. Lots of golden reels at the minute. And then next Wednesday I've got one of my favourites, Herringbrook. So fingers crossed we'll get a good peg in them and have a chance, but I'll catch up with you soon. But yes, if you haven't, well, have a look. Lee Murphy's landing net cutter. Wow. is my official new favouriteest toy. Right, you lot, very, very sorry to interrupt your video watching.
How dare you?
Quickly, if you haven't already noticed, we have managed to write a book, haven't we?
Yes, we have,
Which
Jamie.
is full of all our very bestest methods and features or whatever else we do on this wonderful subject of fishing. So if you haven't had a look already, go and have a look at winningways.shop and buy one for yourself.